That's just sports, baby.
Crowd goes wild, strawberry ice bringing fire and style. Reds, Bengals, Bearcats, all in my zone. This is my stage, my mic, my throne. Boom, like a hammer, I'm breaking the game. Strawberry ice, you're gonna know my name. Sports Talk Thunder, hear the podcast roar. Cincy's line is kicking down the door. Step into the ring where the passion ignites. Talking sports all day and all night. From the field to the court to the roaring stands. Strawberry ice with the world in my hands. Boom, like a hammer, I'm breaking the game. Strawberry ice, you're gonna know my name. Sports Talk Thunder, hear the podcast roar. Cincy's line is kicking down the door.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio. And as always, I'm coming to you live from the Ice Cave. And the Ice Cave is brought to you by Priority Lawn and Landscaping. You guys got that, I don't know, maybe a ginormous lawn, multiple properties. I don't know, you got paper patios. You got mulch you want to install. I mean, anything. Like I said, anything. Lawn and landscaping. Think Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Don't think it. Call them at 513-430-6114. That's 513-430-6114. You can also follow them on Facebook. I would recommend that so you can see the videos and pictures of their job. But when you message Johnny or you call them, tell me you heard about them from Sports with Strawberry Ice. What is up to everybody in the chat? We got, let's see who's first. So Brad's in there. Stranger in there. Johnny Paps is in there. Mike Eversole and Lindsay. And yes, Brad, and yes, Stranger. Yep. RIP to the Hulkster. For some reason, it always comes in threes. First, we had Malcolm and Jamal Warner. And then yesterday, or 2 days ago, we had Ozzy. Now it's the Hulkster. The Hulkster meant a lot to me in my childhood as a 10-year-old kid in 1985. Yeah, he was a pretty big star. So I'm kind of sad about that one. But wrestling moves on, and we'll have to move on too. But shout out to the Hulkster. Today is day 2 of Bengals training camp, and it was hot as hell. Now, I wasn't down there today because I had a doctor's appointment to go to, but I heard how hot it was. I had a couple guys getting sick. Fig got sick. Now, I know Miles Murphy got injured. Might be cramps. I don't know. We'll find out here in a minute from Skinny here from Local 12 and give us the inside scoop. But day 2, offense looked better. Defense, I think the defense is going to be better this year. We'll have to see just from what the guys are saying, like Chase is saying. And by the way, shout out to Trags for the outfit today. I didn't see it. Well, I saw it, but I didn't see it live. Jamar Chase loved the outfit or was laughing at him. Either way, it was awesome. Anyway, let's get to the man who knows way more about this stuff than I do because he's actually covered the Bengals today in that hot heat. He is none other than the Local 12's Richard Skinner. What's going on, Skinny?
As you can tell by my face, probably it was beat down hot. Listen, I haven't covered the Bengals all the time since the early 90s. I was a beat writer at points in time for the Enquirer,
right,
for the Cincinnati Post. I was a backup guy back in the 90s. So I've basically at least covered them in some form since 1993 when they were up in Wilmington. They used to have a thing called two-a-days.
Right.
Go look it up, kids. Can you imagine? I just said that to Dave Lappin today. I said, can you imagine on a day like this doing a two-a-days? He goes, buddy, he goes, we used to do 3-a-days sometimes. I went, oh, my word.
I couldn't. Like, your face looks like mine normally does. But how does my mic sound? Do I sound okay or do I sound weird?
You sounded a little loud earlier. You sound a little muffled at the moment, but I can hear you enough. Okay. So yeah, it's always a work in progress. Just
stupid thing is I can't ever hear myself. So
there you go. You hit the sweet spot there.
All right, there we go.
But no, I mean, I know I've probably been at camp practices that were hotter than today, but this one just felt hotter, and maybe because the humidity was awful. There was no breeze. And I was talking to one of the security guys, and I said, how'd you think it was today? I said, you've been around this a long time. He goes, dude, I think it was one of the hottest ever. I said, is that because we thought morning practice we were going to get cooler and we just thought that was the acclimation? He goes, maybe. So I have a new puppy. She's 12 weeks old, and I take her out at like 6:30 in the morning. So I went out at 6:30 in the morning, took her out in the backyard. We got a fenced-in backyard, and I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad. I know it's going to be hot today, but okay, it's okay now. And by 10 o'clock, it'll be warmer, but not that bad. Man, when I walked out there, it was like, oh, dear word. And listen, I used to play pretty competitive softball, and I you play those weekend tournaments, right? Where you're like playing 4 or 5 games in a day. Yep,
I'll play them.
I had friends that would sweat through 4 and 5 T-shirts. I didn't sweat through one. I sweated. I would sweat. Don't get me wrong. I would sweat. Today, I mean, I'm like literally doing this.
Oh, dude.
It was. I don't mean to be dramatic, and that's why, to what you were talking about before you brought me on, Josh Newton was the first to go down. I mean, he went over that sideline, and initially you're like, oh, gosh, what happened to him, right? You're always on high alert for injuries.
Right.
And then you can see that, okay, I can see it. And I mean to tell you, the trainers were just taking water and throwing water on him because you're trying to – I mean, there's the potential of heat stroke. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Those guys in the helmets and the uniforms, and you're not in pads, but you're worried about that. So he went down first. Miles Murphy, you brought it up. I talked to him for a little bit. He just said he was cramping. And, again, that's to be noted. The one that was the most interesting to me, and I don't know if it's heat related or it's just him related, was T. Higgins' hamstring acting up a little bit again at the end of practice. All of a sudden I look over as they're actually doing a hydration break, and they're trying to stretch him out. And I thought, okay, this is one of two things. This is a good time to get stretched out, right? It's a hydration break and kind of make sure you're staying good. And then all of a sudden he doesn't come back and do anything in teams for the last 2 sessions. Now I don't want to be an alarmist, and
but it's his hamstring,
and it's not a guy that hasn't had hamstring injuries before and issues before. Now I will tell you, those that are watching, he probably won't practice tomorrow, in my opinion, and that might have already been a plan. They're trying to do some management stuff with him. They did it, remember, late last season. He would not practice on Wednesdays, and we'd all go, oh, gosh. And then it was like, okay, this is the plan now. And it worked out just fine. They got him through the season. So that might have been planned, or it might be they just go, okay, maybe it wasn't planned, but, hey, I'm going to guess tomorrow, because it's the third of 3 days in a row, will be a light day. Then they've got a day off, and then 2 days, and the second of those 2 days will be pads. So I wouldn't be alarmed as a fan if you don't hear about him practicing tomorrow. I would be alarmed if this lingers a whole lot further than that. So I don't want to sound the alarm bells, but hey, when a guy's had hamstring issues and it pops up again, then you have to go, oh, not again, man.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're playing in the gates of hell, like you were today with the heat, it doesn't help. Right. And I feel bad for T because he came out and tried to speak it into existence. I'm not going to get hurt this year. Yeah, and I think he's done stuff to try to strengthen the hamstring up and everything. Sometimes you're just going to get that.
I mean, listen, Eric Davis was built in a certain way that led to some goofy injuries. I mean, sometimes your body just is your body. And, it's crazy to look back at a Babe Ruth and go, how did that fat man never get hurt? Well,
lots of beer and hot dogs.
Maybe that's the way to do it.
Right.
I mean, you talk about a fine conditioned athlete. There's probably no finer conditioned and in shape athlete than T. Higgins, right? I mean, that's a body that everybody would die for. And yet he's got issues with his legs. And, I hope this is nothing more than a minor early camp tweak. Soft tissue injuries do happen. The Bengals do a pretty good job of trying to avoid it with the monitoring systems that they use on these guys. But he's kind of one of a kind with this stuff. It's lingered back to his college days, unfortunately.
It did. It sucks. Hopefully it's nothing big. Take a day out. Good thing is it's early in camp, so he's got time to this. So they can, if he needs time off, they can give him time off so it doesn't linger. Because there's no reason to rush him back.
Not a chance, right? Yeah, correct.
I mean, there's no reason for that. And the funny thing was Chase today in his press conference was talking about. So I can't remember who asked the question, but somebody was asking him, if he missed this, because he said he's a workaholic, but if he missed this time, he
said no.
No. Like, but I like working on my craft. I'm like, so they kind of contradicted each other, but
kind of. Yeah, but I get his point. I mean, that grind at camp can be a grind.
Yeah.
And so it's funny. So I ended up writing about Jamar today and kind of off what he said, but I also talked to Troy Walters, the wide receivers coach. And I talked to him about a couple other guys I'm going to write about, Jermaine Burton and Isaiah Williams as camp rolls on. But I just want to get a couple things from him. And I said, so when a guy like Jamar comes off a year like this, I said, how much do you coach him up or how much do you just kind of leave him alone? He said, you know what? He goes, everybody wants to get better, and nobody wants to get better more than he does. And he said he likes the criticism. He likes the nitpicking. He likes. So I said, what specifically are you kind of trying to work on? And they don't want to give everything away. He said, well, it's coming out of his break at the top of his route and trying to set up cornerbacks, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't ask the question, Jamar. I wasn't even in Jamar's press conference. I went to talk to Isaiah Williams, but I got the transcript from my colleagues. And somebody asked him a question about along those lines, and he kind of alluded to trying to do different things to defensive backs and cornerbacks. I'm like, I mean, you talk about nuanced and the minute details of that he's trying to do. And listen, crazy. Do you replicate last season? I think it's impossible to replicate last season, especially if T is healthy. And Chase Brown has the year we think he's going to have. And, you know, you get more leads where you run the ball more and you're not throwing the ball all the time in the fourth quarter. If he replicates last season in a format where the Bengals are doing the things I just mentioned, that will mean he's doing crazy stuff through 3 quarters of play that lead to the same numbers. Again, I think reaching those numbers are going to be not impossible. There's nothing impossible. I mean, he's increased his reception numbers every year in his first 4 years from 81 to 87 to 100 to 127. If you start doing the math on that, this should be a 140 catch season for him. 140 catch season is just, I mean, that's hard
that's
to think
insane.
About.
That's insane.
But if he's working on the nuances that he thinks he can get another extra catch or 2 a game, probably not 2 a game. That's probably not fair. I mean, catch a game, 17 extra catches. That's huge.
Yeah. And the thing is, honestly, this might sound weird, but I hope he doesn't replicate what he did last year, because that means, 1, we're probably playing with a lead and we can run the ball more.
Correct.
And 2, more guys are doing stuff and the offense is clicking more. Because there were times last year, I mean, I know how the offense was on all cylinders at the end of it, but the beginning of it, it wasn't. It took a little while to get going. It was Joe and Jamar and T. But then now, I mean, you got Mike G, who's been in the system a year. You got Chase Brown, who we all think is going to be a multi-purpose back, you know, catching the ball out of the backfield and running. So that gives more aspects to it. So I'm looking at it this way. You remember the greatest show on turf, the St. Louis Rams. That's what I think this offense can be. Those numbers. That would bode well, I think, better for the team. And I think Chase would be okay with this too. Because
I do too. No, I agree with that. I don't think he's about numbers. I think the numbers I think the numbers are kind of the part and parcel of how this offense is if you're the first progression in a read and you're open, you're going there. If you're the second progression in a read and first guy's not open.
And Joe doesn't care. Sorry to interrupt you.
Right.
And Joe doesn't care. Joe, and he said that if you're open and he trusts you, he'll throw you the ball. So Joe doesn't care.
And that's the thing. Everybody always kind of wants to know about the identity of this offense. And I got asked that on a couple radio interviews last night. I said, the identity of the offense is Joe Burrow finding the progression that's open and finding the matchup that's open. There's no really, because there's been a lot of complaints right over time of why can't you scheme Jamar Chase up like Justin Jefferson schemed up? Right. Well, that sounds good, but if one guy's getting all the touches because you schemed him up, what does that mean for the rest of the offense? In my opinion, I do think they scheme this up properly. Okay, maybe on a progression you look and go, okay, he's about to get doubled. T's not. Let's look at T for the first. Maybe he's covered. All right, the second is maybe Mike Gesicki. The third is, can Jamar shake the double team, and he's the third. Then you're probably not getting to a fourth progression until a check down, right? Right. I think that's a great way to run your offense, because it's not so dependent on got to feed him, got to feed him, got to feed him, got to feed him. Oh yeah, I'll give you a touch. No, I think the right way to do the offense is the way they do the offense when everybody's healthy. Yeah,
exactly. The only thing I would like them to do more, and everybody would want this, and Joe even said this in quarterback, is run the ball a little more.
Yeah.
And again, people like it cracks me up. People like, oh, Zach doesn't like to throw the ball. I think if they can actually run the ball and they actually can gain yardage more than 4 yards, or they can actually have an explosive play out of it, they'd run the ball. But they don't get it consistently enough. They've never been able to block it consistently enough.
Yeah, I think they in that 8-game stretch that Chase Brown played, he didn't play that Steelers game, right? But in that 8-game stretch where Chase Brown played, they did run it pretty effectively. I think they did find a way to click. And I don't want to run Frank Pollock under the bus. It's always easy to do it. The coach is out of town. Right. He was the run game coordinator. But now Dan Pitcher's the run game coordinator. And maybe he allows that marriage with the pass game to be better.
Coordinate it better together. If the guy calling the offense or helping call the offense helps.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's a big part of it. I asked Dan at the media luncheon of, Chase during that stretch he had, he touched it about 20, 21 times a game. And I said, can he do that over a 17-game schedule? And he said, no, probably not. We probably got to take some off his plate, but we want to give him as many touches as possible. So I don't know where that sweet spot is with him. Is it 16 touches, 18 touches? I think if he gets 18 or 19 touches a game, and that's a lot. I mean, again, that's over 300 touches a season. I'm not talking about rushes. I'm talking about touches, including receptions. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. And his body, I don't think is built for that, in my opinion. But if he does, I think he breaks James Brooks' single season all-purpose rushing or whatever yards per scrimmage record.
Yeah.
The other one though is, I'll tell you, it's really early in camp. You see it, you know it. I mean, it's hard to gauge run plays, right? And everybody oohs and ahs when a guy breaks off a run for 60 yards because nobody tackled him because they're not allowed to tackle him, right?
Right.
And so guys want to get their conditioning in, so they run a play out, and you hear this ooh, ah, and you're like, no, dude, the ooh and ah stopped about 3 yards from the line of scrimmage. But Chase Brown had a run today that was a legit ooh and ah run where all of a sudden he popped through and he made a juke move on a linebacker because they tried to tag him, right? Well, he couldn't tag him, and off he went. Taj Brooks had a run like that. He's had a run like that each of the first 2 days. I don't want to hype him up too much because he's a rookie.
You read my mind. Keep going, Skinny. Keep going.
But I'm looking more and more at if you're gonna, let's just say again, you get, and you can't completely script this, right? Like we go into a game and you go, hey, Chase Brown's gonna get 18 touches and that's it. When he gets his 18th touch, he's done. It's like a guy getting 90 pitch count. With that stuff.
Right.
But if you're trying to get some load off of him, I don't think it's Samaje. I think Samaje will have his definitive role, the third down, blocker, swing pass, role, short yardage guy because he's a bigger bodied guy. Taj Brooks is that 5 to 7 carry a game backup guy. And man, I tell you, again, it's so early. I want to see what happens when people can actually tackle you. Can you run through tackles, right?
Yeah.
He can run through tags at the moment or juke through tags, but he's got the juice.
Dude, when they drafted him, I was excited. I'm like, I think he's a perfect offset of Chase Brown.
Chase Brown,
now, yeah. So now Samaje, I agree. I think not right at the beginning of the year, but I think personally by the end of the season, I think Taj Brooks is going to be our number 2 running back.
I do too.
P. Ron's going to be our third. The one Zach Moss started on the
NFI list, which is okay. So this is bizarre, right? He hurt his neck last year.
Right.
Got put on injured reserve. He got hurt the week of the Raiders game or the Eagles game. They all run together.
Yeah.
One of those weeks. Got hurt.
Yeah.
We don't know how because we can only watch the first 30 minutes of practice. Did it happen in practice or did it not? Because again, non-football injury list is you didn't hurt it either in a practice or a game setting. From what I understand, he passed his physical, and yet he's on the NFI list. Is it him saying, listen, man, I don't want to be the 4th guy. My calf hurts, my shoulder hurts, my elbow hurts. Yeah. And they go, oh, okay, fine, we'll put you on the NFI. Maybe it's legit. Hell, maybe he fell down at home and hurt his ankle for all. I mean, I don't know what it is because again, it's out of football activities.
Right.
And maybe he says, look, dude, I want out of here. I can see the writing on the wall. I'm the 4th guy. And they're going to go, no, we're going to stash you in this list because no offense, I don't want to speak this into truth, but what if one of the 3 guys you're looking at gets hurt? Then Zach Moss, we need you. Or what if you go through preseason, you look and you go, Samaje, I love you, man, but you got nothing left in the tank. I don't think that's the case. He's looked okay the first couple of days of practice, but again, he's an older guy, and
you never know. It's football. You never know.
Correct. So I'm really fascinated with this because it is not neck related for sure. It is not that neck injury related. Okay. It's whatever else it is, and nobody knows what it is because NFI can be a billion things. Again, like I said, you could have tripped on your stairs at home and got a bruised ass for all I know. I mean, I've had that happen to me.
Did you?
Yes.
My dumbest one is I hurt my back picking up a load of laundry, and it wasn't even heavy.
Oh, that's a bad one, man.
Dude, I was laid up.
That wasn't like wet towels.
They came out of the dryer.
Okay,
I literally went to the laundry.
That's bad. No offense. That's pretty weak.
That's pretty weak. I picked up. Oh my! And then my wife said, "You okay?" I'm like, nope. I got to go sit down. And then I sat in a chair there. I'm like,
I will say all my friends that have had back issues over the years, I'm like, knock on wood, man. That's that in knees and ankles and whatever else.
I got all of them right now.
I know you do.
I know my knees, my ankle, all of them are screwed. That's what I get for doing a hard labor for 30 years. But
hard labor should have at least allowed you to have some ability to pick up laundry.
Yeah, you would think so.
Right.
You would think so.
Correct.
That's what I was crazy. I'm like, how did I do that? But anyway, that's why I don't make fun of people that get hurt on weird stuff because I got hurt on the weirdest thing ever.
No question. So have I.
All right, Fuzzy Balls, he's got a $5 super chat. Appreciate it. How were Miles and T before they cramped up?
Miles wasn't as noticeable today as he was yesterday. I didn't think, and I think yesterday we saw a lot of blitzing, and so that kind of frees you up a little bit.
Right.
T before that was good. He almost made a spectacular juggling catch along the sideline.
The one that Cam Taylor-Britt, I think, broke up? Yeah.
Yes. And actually almost intercepted. T had to twist. It was a 50-50 ball.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe threw it as a 50-50 ball. T went up, got his hands on it a little bit, couldn't hang on to it. Then Cam hit it. T hit it. I think Cam hit it again. Another guy came over and fell to the turf. Yep. But then I didn't see the route. I saw the conclusion of it. I don't know if it was a double move or just a straight go route. For whatever it was, DJ Turner got burned badly, and T ran right by him. Joe threw a perfect ball.
That was a 50-yarder today.
He caught another couple. Now, I will say this, and I did this on the podcast I did with Yanni Tregellis on local12.com. He asked who my camp guy of the day was. I said, well, it was Burrow because it was such a great bounce-back day. He was ridiculously good after his admittedly poor performance.
Was that surprising at all from yesterday?
No, correct.
He was going to come. He doesn't take losing lightly. He was going to come back and he was going to eat that defense.
Absolutely. No question. And he ripped every throw you could throw, from a feathered pass over top of Oren Burks in front of Cam Taylor-Britt to tight hole shots to a back shoulder throw to Jermaine Burton to that deep ball to Higgins. It wasn't just that Higgins beat DJ Turner. I mean, it was literally, you talk about the in-stride throw, it was in-stride. But DJ Turner on the very next play, there was a back shoulder to Andre Yoshavash, and he actually told, I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but Yanni Tregellis, our anchor at Local 12, did. And Yoshi said he thought he should have caught it, but he said, I got to give a lot of credit. DJ Turner got a hand in there, and he just kept ripping, and he finally ripped it away from me. So, again, for a cornerback, getting beat sucks, right? And getting beat the way he did by T. Higgins was
back.
But he came back, not just later on the very next camp play, and made that play. I'm like, okay, that's good short-term memory, which corners have to have.
You have to have that. Now Joe talked about, and Jamar talked about today in both the press conferences about the defense and how it seems like they're hiding, disguising more things now. What's your thoughts on how the defense? I know it's only second day, but I'll say this: from what I've seen of Al Golden, I like this is what I saw from the bridge and from the first day yesterday. I like he seems more hands-on. He's there behind them, calling the plays instead of being off the side like Lou was, and it's more quick tempo. He's like, we gotta go. So they mess up, they fix it later, but because it makes sense, because if you mess up the game, you can't fix it right there. So just what's your thoughts on Al Golden and how this defense is looking?
Yeah, I mean, he's a shiny new toy, right? I get that. And you're talking to a guy who had a lot of respect for Lou. I know fans.
Yeah. Oh, I love Lou.
I know fans probably at the end didn't. And I would tell you that the change needed to be made because it was time for a new voice in that room. There was time for new ideas in that room.
Logan Wilson said that to James Rapine, I think, this past weekend. So,
and there's no question about that.
Yeah.
And to lose credit, he landed on his feet. And, he got a job. He's fine. And all's well that ends well in that regard.
Right.
So Al's a shiny new toy, and it's fun to kind of watch some of the things he's done. I mean, we were all blocked out, ourselves included. I know where you were standing yesterday. You were probably blocked out completely on the Geno Stone safety blitz.
I was.
But I was kind of had my head at a different area. I tried to look at different area. I mean, you can't look at everything, right?
Yeah.
And I the ball was snapped, and I kind of looked up. I went, wait a minute, did something happen weird on that play? And Jay Morrison said, no, I think Geno just blitzed and got right in his face. I go, that quick? And so when we talked to Geno at the end of that day, he's like, yeah, I got in there. And so I talked to Demetrius. I did a story on Demetrius Knight yesterday about how important it was for him to practice. And it's not meant as a shot at Shamar Stewart. But how important
it was to Shamar.
Oh, I know. I trust me. I know. I don't even have notes in front of my notes. But how important this was not meant as a shot, but how important it was for him to practice in the spring to allow him to hit the ground running, because he was really good yesterday. He was okay today. It was a different kind of thing, and you don't know all the schematics they're doing on different days. Right. I mean, yesterday was just, I thought he was really good. And so I talked to him about, that, and he literally said, the first day of OTAs, he goes, he's like my grandma, my cousins tell me, like a chicken with my head chopped off. I'm just running around not knowing what I'm doing.
Right.
He said, but then each rep I got better and better and better. And he said, today, meaning yesterday, He said, I hit the ground running because I knew where I was supposed to go. I knew what I was supposed to do. I knew all those things. And so I talked to Logan Wilson about that a little bit because he's his partner at the moment. He said,
right.
yeah, he goes, we're trying to do a lot of different disguise stuff, and he needs to know that like now. Yeah. And so I think that's back to that initial question you asked is I think they are trying to disguise stuff more. And I still remember it's one of my favorite stories I've done the last few years. It was the Super Bowl year. And it might have been the week, that interim week in between the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship game. Mm-hmm. And it was. I talked to Von Bell, Mike Hilton, and Jesse Bates about them, how good they are at disguising coverages and blitzes and stuff. And they were really good, and it was fascinating about it. So Lou did these things, by the way. I just want people to know that Lou did that. Well, then when he lost
Jesse Bates
and he lost Von Bell in the same year,
that hurt.
Suddenly you don't trust guys disguising stuff, and things changed. And so, Al's dealing with different guys than Jesse Bates and Von Bell, but I do think the disguise stuff is important. I think that's a big part of what they're trying to do. I thought they had a really cool one today where they ran a 3 linebacker package. They haven't done it a ton, but Oren Burks came in with Knight and Logan Wilson. And Oren Burks, they had a 4-man front. Oren Burks lined up outside the one end. Knight lined up outside the other end. It showed a 6-man front.
Right.
And Logan stayed in the middle as the middle linebacker. And then you had coverage. And I'm looking, going, okay, who's coming, who's not coming? Where are they coming from? I mean, could Logan even come? Because Logan wasn't deep, but he was in the middle. Mm-hmm. And it ended up Burks, I think, blitz. Knight took a step blitz, dropped back into coverage. I think Burrow was the quarterback, and he ended up having to check it down. And that was the other thing that Logan said yesterday and again, this was Joe's first day, and Joe wasn't very good, as we know. He said, but listen, man, we confused him. And if we can confuse the best quarterback in the NFL,
it's pretty good.
How can we do against other guys? And he said, Al's whole point is, can we steal 6 or 7 points a game disguising stuff and doing that kind of stuff? And if they can, well, that's a freaking huge ass improvement from last year.
Absolutely. That's what's exciting me about it. Now, we brought it up, and since we talked about
I know it's coming. I know
I got to bring it up. Now, this is my biggest point to this whole thing with Shamar Stewart. As one, I think his agent is totally screwing him.
He's a goofy.
And you said this on the Skinny podcast that Mike Brown. Well, first of all, Mike Brown came out and said, basically just don't go to jail, don't beat women, and you'll be fine. And you said this. Well, you don't exactly know what's actually in the language, which you're right. We don't know that. My whole point to this thing is Shamar Stewart was, when he got drafted, was so big on coming in and proving everybody wrong, proving I'm better than the 4.5 sacks or whatever I got in college, to not showing up to minicamp, to the first 2 days of training camp. If he doesn't show up, if this goes a week, he can kiss his rookie season goodbye.
Absolutely.
And that's what I don't understand. Like, I get it. You don't like the words. You need to worry about your NFL career, because you get 4 years, maybe 5, to get the second contract. The second contract is the big money, bigger money it should be for you. And he's a first-round pick. They're going to give you all the chances in the world because you're a first-round pick. So this language cannot be that crazy that you're taking a chance of ruining your first year in the NFL. When you have a very open team to get to. I mean, you got Trey Henderson, who's not there. You can take his snaps. You got Miles Murphy and Joseph Ossai, who haven't produced like the Bengals wanted to. It was open for him to jump in and take control of it, and that's gone now.
Yeah, and it is nuanced because he has missed valuable time. Like I said, I didn't do the Demetrius Knight story to really poke fun at Shamar Stewart, but it was showing the importance of how important it was for that guy to practice.
It just rolls into it.
And Shamar could have done the same thing. I mean, let's not forget the first-round pick, the number one overall pick, Travis Hunter. He had not signed for a chunk of training camp or a chunk of the offseason program, and he signed the waiver and he practiced. Okay, he was set to lose out on more money if he had suffered some catastrophic. Now, again, the waiver gives you some protection, but not to the point of could you ruin your NFL career. So, the thing I think his agent should do is let's see what is the specific language of the contract. Is it
What
if you get one DUI, which is bad? It's bad, right? It's not good, but it shouldn't make guaranteed money go away if you're performing at a high level.
Right.
There's a part of me that says if the language is something like that, or you get ejected from 2 games and cost us a game, I don't know what the specific language is. Nobody does at the moment.
Well,
Mike
he can
Brown
tell
tried to
us. He's so
Correct.
quick to go be
Correct.
childish and get mad at Duke Tobin saying, "Oh, it's above your pay grade." Tell us what you're upset about.
And I would tell you that if the language is only what Mike Brown said, and again, I'm not here to tell you that anybody should take their word for this word for word,
Right.
but if it's literally about staying out of prison, staying away from beating women, dude, if you're worried about that's going to come up in the 4 years, well, I don't even know why they drafted you in the first place.
What are you hiding then? Right. That's my thing is, what are you hiding? And that's what's kind of getting to me is like, is there something you're hiding that's going to come out? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. The wording can't be that off. And when they draft me,
and that's the thing. I don't know if it is. And it may be. It may be to the point of, man, if I get
Demetrius Knight signed it, and he's probably got the same wording in it.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did, but I don't. I got to be quite honest. I don't know what the exact wording for like second round. Now he signed a contract that had guarantees in it, not fully guaranteed, like all the fully guaranteed, like.
Well, they guaranteed his part of his second year,
which is
first time the Bengals have ever done that. I think
correct.
So,
no, it's a good chunk of guarantees.
Yeah,
but that's where I go back. It's one of two things: either the language is just so one-sided,
right,
or is this kid really afraid that he might go to jail in the 4 years he's playing for the team?
But I can't see it being that. I mean, it just wouldn't make any sense. I'm just trying to think of it logically. It wouldn't make any sense. Why in the hell would the Bengals do something that's so off the wall for this one guy that they haven't done with anybody else?
Right,
and then. Then the other thing is, what are you hiding, or why haven't you signed it? Why are you taking the chance of basically punting on your rookie season for this? It doesn't make it none of it makes any sense to me.
I will say this is a big litmus test of the potential of what NIL could do. I don't know what he made in NIL, but Texas A&M is pretty famous in the NIL era for paying money, right?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
To a lot of guys, and he was part of a group of guys that they paid. And I'm not here to tell you it's life-changing money. Maybe for you and I it is, but I mean, I would guess he made 7 figures this past year at Texas A&M, maybe a little bit less, but enough to certainly have a nice lifestyle.
That's such short-sighted, though, if that's what it is, dude.
No, but it does give you the leverage to say, I can sit here for a year and go back to the draft. And if Shamar Stewart is able to pull this off, like, I don't like your language. Now, again, you could say if the other 31 teams are doing it, as Duke Tobin said, well, one of them is the one they're going to draft you because the Bengals can't redraft you. But I would tell you, if he goes back in the draft because of this, does that set a stage for a player going, hey, listen, Chicago, I know you're drafting third. I don't want to go to your team. And if you draft me, I got enough NIL in my pocket. I'm going back.
Right.
This is going to be a fascinating next few months to see how this plays out. That if he literally says, not to hell with it, I'm going back to the draft, I'm not going to sign with you guys. Because the thing with Trey Hendrickson, and we'll get to that, I'm sure, in a minute. The thing with Trey Hendrickson is there is a negotiation. It's not going well, but there is a negotiation. With Shamar Stewart, there's like a line of, here's where we are. Here's where we are. We ain't budging. We ain't budging. Right. And so we're stuck.
Right. That's what's so frustrating. And the thing is, I want to clarify to everybody, when you're saying go back in the draft, you don't mean go back to college and play, because he cannot go back to college and play.
He could litigate it. I mean, everybody sues the NCAA.
But if he does that, football season will be over.
He's not going to do that. No. He'll wind up sitting out the season and write out whatever money he's got and be good to go. And
the thing is, too, is like, do you think that if he does go back into the draft, and would somebody that he sat out a whole year over some stupid language, that somebody would take a first round pick on him? I would find that hard, because he wasn't like a, oh my God, you got him kind of guy.
Right. But let's just say he won't do a combine, but let's say he probably won't do a pro day, because I guess Texas A&M could let him do another pro day. But let's just say he does whatever his own day is. He does his own workout, and he's just as fabulous as he was before, which led to him being a first round pick. And he just tests off the charts, and it's not a good year on the defensive end market. I don't know if it is or isn't. I don't know.
I have no idea.
But let's just say it's not. I could see him being another first round pick. And you and I talked about this, whatever, last time I was on the podcast. You're like, well, what if he sits out of here? I said, well, Jamar Chase sat out of here. How'd that work out? And
but he's not Jamar Chase, though.
He's not. That's a fair point. But he has athletic traits, right? I mean, it's not like you're drafting him on a finished product. You've drafted him all along on a guy on traits. And if that doesn't change, like, again, I'm just assuming this, he could get out of shape and run a 40 that's 0.4 of a second less, and not do a vertical as high, not do a shuttle cone drill as high. But what if he tests the same or even better? You're like, man, he still got the same athleticism he just had last year.
Yeah.
You know,
but the thing is, do you want to take a chance of
that's a
contract
that's
thing?
fair.
That's
a fair.
You'd have to weigh that. Like, well, I
But
could draft
again,
this guy and he might sign easier.
That goes back to the language of maybe a team has the language of
Right.
don't go to jail. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to jail, dude. I don't want a deal. Or Roquan Smith had it in his contract in 18. Well, he balked of, if you get kicked out of so many games, we're going to avoid. No, I mean, if I get kicked out, I get. And so, again, until we know the exact language, the Bengals have put their side out there of, you know, if he goes to prison and he does this, okay, I don't think any reasonable fan goes, that doesn't sound unreasonable to me.
Right.
And if that's it, then okay, then dude, what are you balking at? Then are you really afraid you're that much of a shithead, for lack of a better term, that you're going to do something?
It literally makes no sense. None of this makes sense. It's so freaking stupid.
As Mike Brown said, it's reached the stage of silliness.
Yes, I agree. And I said this. Kelsey Conway had the video, and I retweeted it, and I said Shamar Stewart's agent has done the impossible, made all Bengals fans agree with Mike Brown.
Yeah,
you know, because what he said, if what he said is true,
right,
is all we wanted to do is basically not beat women, not go to jail. And he even said, not on that clip, but in the same statement, that I'm not necessarily going to take the money away. I just want the option to do it. So he did say that as well. And people are like, well, you know, the agent's got people out there thinking that the Bengals are putting language in the contract that no other NFL team have put in.
And they might.
Well, what he's saying, it's not.
Right. And that's where, if the agent wants some full transparency here for people to go, Bengals, what the hell are you doing? Then let us know what the language of the contract is,
He should reach out to you, because he was supposed to be on Bengalorian and Drew Garrison's show this past week.
Did he back?
Yeah, he backed out of it.
Wow.
Which I think, but I think it's crazy, dude. Like, seriously, like because he actually emailed Bengals captain, and I wish Cap would have answered him, because I would have had him on my show. But that doesn't make any sense to me. Why are you coming to our shows? You can go to your show or any of the local sports writers guys,
or Adam Schefter, or
right.
Ian Rappaport, any of those guys go, here's our side of it. Here's literally the language of the contract, guys.
Why are you? Because he's reaching out to Bengals fans. Mike Brown doesn't give two craps what we think about it. I mean, he doesn't. Neither the Bengals, they don't care. I mean, they want us to be. They want to win us. They want us to be happy about the team, but they're not going to go change their mind. Oh, Jeff Trenable, Strawberry Ice doesn't like what we're doing with Shamar Stewart. We better go sign him. They're not going to do that. So for him to reach out to Bengals fans is just weird to me. The whole thing, the way this guy's handling this, is freaking weird.
It is very weird. There's no question. And go back to this, and I think your guy Corey Dillon has said it before too, right?
Mm-hmm.
The agent works for you. You don't work for the agent.
Yep. I did that on Talkback with Tony Pike today. I that was exactly what I said. Corey Dillon said, "Oh, you don't work for the agent works for you." And I don't know if Shamar knows that or not. But
yeah, anyway. No, you're right.
So I got a couple of things here I want to bring up here from the chat here. Where did it go? Oh, yeah, here it is. G3 or GC3 says, Skinny, are you going to bring out an Apple shirt combo to keep up with Trags? I'm so upset I missed the combo today. I'm so upset I missed it.
So here's the thing. I egged Trags on to wear that. He's worn that before that people probably haven't noticed. Okay.
No, I've seen it before, yeah.
And I said, Trags, you're going to break that out the first day of camp? He goes, no, man. First day of camp's kind of sacred. I said, well, you got to bring it out before the first 3 days. And he said, I'm going to surprise you. So he came today. He had a jacket on. He was in the media room pretty early. I got there early, too. I got there about 8:45. He was there before me. I said, dude, you got the jacket on. He goes, cold in here. I said, I know it's cold in here. I said, what do you got on? He goes, he turned around, he opened the jacket up. I said, you son of a gun, this is going to be an incredible day. This is perfect, dude. You got that. And then Jamar Chase, I didn't even think about what the ramifications of that could have been, him wearing that into a press conference day. I mean, like, you go talk to a player, you can kid around with them, and it's not public, right? It's just you and the guy, unless maybe there's a video component to it, a TV component or a video component. And the fact that Jamar busted him up was pretty damn good.
It was awesome. To
answer that question, as you can see, I'm a pretty conservative dresser. Not a chance.
Skinny is strictly a polo and shorts guy.
Shorts guy. There's no question.
All right, let's see here. Gregory here. Stewart was a platoon player at A&M. He played tackle nose guard, used to take up 2 blocks on certain downs, free up other players to make plays, which would be great if he comes here and does that.
That's what I think he's. I think we talked about this after the draft. Part of the reason they drafted him wasn't just to be an edge guy. It was to, remember the whole concept of, well, why didn't they get a 3 technique? Well,
well,
the
he
3
could play
technique could be Miles Murphy, and I think they recognize that on passing downs. I mean, in a perfect world passing down setting, if he can play that role, your perfect passing down setting is Osai Murphy, Trey Hendrickson on the outside, and maybe you want to do a complete NASCAR package.
I want one.
Osai, kicked inside at times the last couple of years.
Yep.
Again, you'd have to scheme there. You'd have to rep this, and you can't rep this yet because most of the group's not here. If in a perfect world, everybody worked out and Miles Murphy took a step forward, you'd have Murphy on an edge, Hendricks on an edge, Osai inside, Shamar Stewart inside. And again, if they're all playing to the potential you're hoping for, first round pick, Osai, third round pick, Trey being an all-pro Pro Bowl guy, that could be a dynamic group.
I was talking about that in the offseason. I'm like, this would be awesome.
Yeah, to that point, yes. And that's I think why they like him is that versatility. Now, he's not going to play – he's not going to be a 3-down tackle because they've got enough tackles. But, again, on a pass rush scenario, I think that's really what they were kind of looking towards of, occasionally, playing on the edge or being an edge backup and getting some snaps on second down or first down even. But on third down on the specialty packages of kicking him inside and letting him play that area.
Yeah. Now, there was reports that Noah Fant was in talks with the Bengals. I don't know if he was in town or not. I know they said they're in talks with him. I think that would be I don't want to say an upgrade, but with Alt being gone, Alt was our tight end. He was the one that you could play him at tight end and you'd have to take him out. We don't have that now. Is there any news on Fant?
No, I don't see it. I don't, but I could be wrong.
You get my hopes up for nothing then.
Yeah, it is an interesting role because Gesicki's obviously the number 1 receiver at that spot. They love.
He's really a number 3 receiver. He's not really
correct.
tight end.
Yeah, correct. They love Drew Sample. Fans don't have to love Drew Sample. They love Drew Sample. And so he plays his role either in that backfield as a third down blocker.
The only reason people don't like Drew Sample is where he's drafted at. That's the only reason.
That's a fair point. If Drew Sample had been a 5th or 6th round pick,
he'd be fine.
I think you'd be more than fine with a guy going, wait, he's going in this. He's been here this long and done this.
He'd be a fan favorite probably.
That's actually a fair point.
Yeah.
But so Noah Fant then, does he slot into that third tight end role where, again, he can do a little bit of both? I'm not a big Noah Fant guy. I think he's okay. I think he's just a guy. But he's just a guy that's probably better than Tanner Hudson, certainly better than Cam Grandy.
Yeah.
And to your point, if Eric All was on this roster and healthy, he's clearly the number 2 tight end, if not the starter, with Gesicki playing in a sub role, right? And so I'm never opposed to that. I think anytime fans see that guy out there that who he is, everybody jumps to go get him. And I'm like,
right.
Slow your roll.
That was me today. I'm like,
and I don't blame anybody. I don't blame anybody for
that.
Because
I think they do need to add.
Do they?
Well, because Alt did so much, Skinny.
He was great.
You could play him every down, and when you put Sable in there, most likely it's a running play. They're not going to go.
But I would say this though. And you're right. Eric All was literally the first 3-down tight end they've had in a while. There's no doubt that this guy, he can run block, he can hang in and pass block if you need him to. He can run this route, he can run that route. He can break tackle. I'm so disappointed and sad for Eric All, and I hope that again having another knee injury doesn't completely derail his career. Right. It would be totally unfair. But listen, when he got hurt, it did create more pass catching opportunities for Gesicki, and he was great down the stretch. So was this, I don't want to say a blessing in disguise, because that's never fair when a guy gets hurt. That's not the right phraseology. I'm sorry I probably used it. But it gave Gesicki a chance to be more involved. And suddenly he winds up, you look at him and go, damn, that dude had a really good season.
And I think he's going to be more of a red zone target earlier in the year than he was later, which I keep going back to the New England game last year. They came back and counted. Yeah, well, didn't they come back and count Gesicki's touchdown later on? But it didn't matter. I thought the NFL came back and said
the one that was ruled in not a touchdown. I think you're right. Yeah.
But then Tanner Hudson still, I don't know what the hell he was doing. But anyway, all right, let's get to Trey Hendrickson here.
Yeah.
So all right. So my question for you is his reason for leaving was now the interesting thing. I always thought it was the length of the contract.
He came out to some degree.
Well, he came out and said it's more of the guarantees beyond the first year. Now, the thing he said too is I'm going to leave, so I'm not as much of a distraction as I guess Jamar was last year. I think it's still just as much of a distraction when you're sitting there taking a picture saying you're going to Florida.
It was for a day, and I think I agree with him on that.
Okay.
Like every day, and maybe it's just for us as media people, maybe fans too, where you look down and you go, crap, he's not practicing today. There he is in the baseball cap.
He's a baseball cap, yep.
And there's the TV B-roll shot of there he is in the baseball cap. Well, there's no shot of that now. There was the Tuesday, right? He didn't report the Instagram photo, the picture of him in Florida, and it was almost like, okay, he's not coming, and that's kind of it. I mean, like honestly, today, I don't even know if anybody really thought in those terms. Like if he's not, I just don't. So I think both for him and Shamar, from a distraction standpoint, them not being here isn't a bad thing. Now, in another 2 weeks when we're still talking about this, I should say.
Oh, God, I hope not. Jesus Christ.
If we're still talking about this for either guy, then then we're in a little bit of distraction mode. I mean, we've got a little bit of an issue there, perhaps. Mm-hmm. But no, I think him not being there is probably the best thing. Now, it's costing him some change. It's costing him $50,000 a day to not be there. It's not costing Shamar because Shamar's never been under contract. But it's costing Trey. It's costing him $50,000 a day.
Now, he'll probably for what I've understood is when hopefully he signs his contract, they can do something to refund some of his money back.
Not really. I mean, they can bake it. They can probably bake it into the contract.
Okay.
But these are mandatory fines.
Okay.
Literally, you can't. This is an NFL mandatory thing. Again, could you go, hey Trey, you're gone for 20 days and that cost $1 million. Can we just bake that into the contract? Sure. Could you do that? Yeah, you could probably do that. But it is mandatory, and so the longer this goes, the goofier it gets. Yeah,
and this is interesting. Which I want to hear your opinion on. Trey's preparing to be team captain. All right, that kind of answers it there. So, all right, I'm going to kind of steal this from Mo, because I was kind of thinking this, but I don't want to totally take credit for it. Like, his point was yesterday or today, I can't remember what it was. Joe Burrow was here when he was negotiating contract. Jamar was here. He wasn't playing, but he was here.
Mm-hmm.
The way Trey's handling it and talking bad about the organization and to a certain degree doesn't bode well to leading men, especially when you're not here.
Right?
How are you going to be a team captain when you're not here? I just don't see how that's going to work. What's your thoughts on it?
No, listen. I thought Jamar was never going to get signed last year, and he should have understood that. Like, Justin Jefferson didn't get signed in that time frame. Justin Jefferson got signed when you ended up signing your extension, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. I mean, guys try to have leverage, and his leverage was – but, again, Jamar was, I think, in my opinion, smart enough to go, I'm going to show up. I'm not going to get fined. I'm not stupid enough to get fined. I'll be here. I'll watch. I'll be there for watch some install stuff, and I'm not going to get behind. Now, there's not as much install stuff for a defensive end, mind you.
Right.
But
put the fingers in the ground and go get the quarterback.
I think the hold-in is the best way to go. Now, in a way, I'm contradicting myself because that became more of a distraction that he held in.
Right.
But from his own personal standpoint, I thought that was fine. But, yeah, to that point, I mean, I know all players do understand the business of this. Like, hey, man, you got to take care of yourself. And Joe mentioned it yesterday. This is a business thing. Of you got to fight for everything you can get, and that's what Trey's doing. But if you want to talk about then being a captain, I just don't. I don't know where the leadership part of that comes in.
Right.
I mean, if you gave me 3 guys on that defense to be team captains. Logan Wilson isn't very vocal, but I think Logan's a quiet leader he could be. I think B.J. Hill would be a great defensive captain, in my opinion.
I agree.
I don't know who in the secondary because there's not enough guys that they have enough to maybe Cam, Cam.
I'd say Dax, but Dax has been hurt. So
and so I just he keeps saying stuff, man.
I know,
and you just at this point it's like, dude. Just
Shut up.
let the negotiations work themselves out.
Right.
And to the point of this, whether we like it or not, they always seem to. I mean, we all wrung our hands over Jamar. We all wrung our hands over T. Right or wrong, you don't have to like it. But
Joe didn't sign until right before the season started.
Correct. So. Jesse Bates was never going to get signed to whatever Jesse Bates. So, again, you can wring your hand, but that was never going to happen. So that one, Joe Mixon was never going to get re-signed, and Joe tried the whole hold-in injury thing. And okay, listen, for the whole Trey scenario, to me, his leverage lasts until the week of the Browns game. And then at that point, my man's got a really tough decision to make. Am I going to forfeit $1 million a game in a game check? Am I going to forfeit the continuing fines that I had from training camp? I have to play in 6 games, not play. He has to be on the active roster for 6 games to accrue a season to go to free agency. Let's just say then, let's go to the complete. There's not a nuclear option of him not playing. Right. That's a nuclear option for him because the Bengals then keep his rights.
Right.
The nuclear option would be he's on the roster for 6 games and then goes, my ankle's bothering me, man. I can't play this week. I go back to this. If you want to get paid what you think you should be paid, and I got both sides of this. I believe he deserves a big chunk of money.
Yeah.
I also believe I'm not going to pay into the stratosphere. It's a weird dynamic here, right? So he's going to have to play and perform because if he doesn't, what team in the NFL is going to pay him? What team's going to go, hey, guy, you played in 3 games that you were eligible to play in 6, and you had 1 sack, and you claimed your ankle hurt. Are you hurt? Well, we're going to put you through a medical, but, I think for him the option's this. The option's this. He takes whatever security the extension is. And again, I don't blame him. Negotiate up to the nth degree of what if you can keep squeezing enough, okay, that's what this holdout's about. I'm going to show you guys. Well, you're going to squeeze him a little bit. You're not going to squeeze him to the point of probably 35 mil or even second-year money guarantees. I just don't see them doing that at his age. I just don't. And I'm not sure I blame them. I mean,
maybe 33 by the time it's over if it's 2 years.
And if it's 3 years, he's 34 at that point. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm guaranteeing all that. And I hate to do this because everybody's different.
It sucks, but it's reality.
When A.J. Green entered that year where he hurt his leg, would you ever thought his career was going to go where it went?
Nope.
Of course not. Nobody did. And it went right off the cliff. So, I mean, all that and again, was that just dumb luck? Probably. But did you ever think A.J. Green was an out-of-shape athlete or a guy who didn't take care of himself?
Nope.
Same for Trey. Trey takes great care of himself. But father time's father time, bro. I mean, it just is. And again, not everybody ages the same. I mean, Tom Brady played till 45. Okay?
Right.
Aaron Rodgers,
but it's also a different. Well, I say different impact on your body, smashing into defensive linemen and stuff. But the quarterbacks get drilled too, so never mind.
But again, everybody's different. Every scenario's different. But I don't. If I'm a franchise, I'm not running the risk of being on the hook for $40 million in guaranteed money in a year where the guy may not play because he's too old and he got hurt.
That's where I'm surprised the Steelers gave TJ Watt so much money.
I am too.
He's only a couple months younger or older than Trey. I did not think they would do that. Now, see, the thing that drives me nuts though is if the Bengals would be, which I wish they've come a long ways on contract negotiations, so they haven't come far enough. They would be proactive. They could have locked him up after the season ended. They could have got him for 28 maybe before anything blew up.
Okay, and that's a fair point. I'm glad you brought it up because I'm going to refute that. And your point's a good one. Remember what he did last year, right? Last April, where he had just signed an extension. Oh, wait, give me more. So when if he'd done what you did, and your point's a valid one because you're not the only one that's done it. A lot of people have made that point.
Right.
You don't think that even if he had done an extension at that level and he sees the market go where he goes, I want to extend that. I'll retire. I want. Don't think for a second he wouldn't have done that.
But he's not going to retire. That's what he said the first time.
I'm with you. But again, it doesn't mean he wouldn't say it and cause the ruckus he tried to cause. Yeah. So my opinion is I do think they get something done. It'll be late in the game here in camp. It probably won't completely satisfy him. It probably won't completely satisfy the Brown family, but I do think something will get done. Now, I will tell you this. I think if it doesn't, I don't think he misses a game. I just don't see him missing a game.
I don't see how it benefits him. I'm like,
it doesn't.
He's like, I'm Doug. And this is what goes back to where Mike Brown said he's an emotional guy, which he is. I mean, I will never forget they called Blackout Trey a couple years ago. I was, training camp. I was like, "What's up, Trey?" And he went, and dude, if he had laser beams,
Yeah,
he would have shot him right at me. He's in the mood. But I mean, that's what makes him a great player, but also kind of hurts him in stuff like this, where he's taking pictures of going to Florida, where he's saying he wants to be a captain when he's not even in camp. You need to shut up. And what he said, I'm going to retire. You're going to retire.
That's kind of it. Shut up is probably the right answer to this.
All right, we got $10 super chat before we get out of here. Fuzzy Balls, I wish the reporters would stop asking Joe about unsigned players. They ask him every time. It's becoming very disrespectful to keep asking the same question for the 67th time. Then ESPN says he's mad. Like, well, you got to ask him, I think.
You got to ask him. I mean, and he gave a couple of good answers yesterday he said it was disappointing they're not here, but then he mentioned, hey, guys got to fight what they got to fight for. And he was then asked about, you've been through contract negotiations like this, what do you, and he said, I just know. And again, you don't have to like it. That's fine if you're a fan, but those questions are going to be asked. He knows they're going to be asked. And I think he gave good answers to him yesterday.
And one thing was interesting. The way he answered about Trey was different. How he talked about T.
Yes.
And or wasn't like, he's politically correct. He's politically correct when he was talking about T, but he was like, we need T. He wouldn't say we need Trey. He's like, yeah, it would be nice to have him here. We want him here, but it wasn't, which kind of surprised me.
Well,
because I thought he'd be
they do have a relationship. He stumped for him a little bit. He didn't stump for him as much as he did for Jamar and T. Mm-hmm. But don't forget, he's throwing balls to Jamar and T. He's not throwing balls to Trey Hendrickson.
And that's the difference to me. Where I'm not happy they're having a holdout, but I'd almost rather be the Trey than Jamar and T again.
Yeah,
because
I agree with that.
We're an offensive ran team. We're going to go how our offense goes, no matter what our defense does. If our offense sucks, it ain't going to matter. Yeah, if our offense is clicking like I think it is, we're going to be a fun and hopefully a playoff team. 56 minutes, real quick here.
Yeah.
How many fights happened today? There's a couple of them out there.
There were a couple. Ted Karras and Cam Sample of all people squared. Not square. I say squared.
Ted Karras is always in fights. He's a couple last year too.
He is. And Cam Sample. That was one. I'm like, wait, what? Cam Sample? I mean,
that's interesting.
One I couldn't tell. I think it was. I know Jackson Kirkland was involved. I couldn't tell if he slung a guy to the ground again. There's some contact, right? There's blocking. I mean, it's live, but it's not like full live. There's not tackling. You're not supposed to. Right. I mean, PJ Jules yesterday, he must have tackled 4 or 5 guys. Like, dude, what are you doing, man?
I didn't know who that was. Who the hell is drilling people?
He was drilling guys. Thank goodness they were backup guys he was drilling, but he was drilling them. You're literally not supposed to do that by the collective bargaining room.
Right.
So today, Jackson Kirkland slung somebody to the ground, and then all of a sudden, it was literally towards the end of practice, and I think at that point everybody had enough of everything, and so it was kind of the big scrum. I will tell you, I don't know how live they go tomorrow, Ice, because it's the third day of 3 days, as I mentioned. They got a day off after that. I know people are going to hate me saying this, but it's probably going to be a lighter day, in my opinion, for them. So you may not have as much 11s.
Well, I think that's more of what Zach's trying to change up to
a little bit.
To give more.
I'll be honest, and you could probably speak this more. I don't speak to this as much. I thought there was more live action on day one of camp than I remember.
Oh, yeah. It was, and that's what everything's quick, fast. It was up the tempo pretty quick.
Yeah, that feels like it's changed. And again, they didn't get into the live action stuff until about 50 minutes, 45 minutes into today's practice. There's a lot of install stuff you're still doing, a lot of drill stuff you're still doing. But once they did, it was a lot of team stuff. And in that heat, I will tell you, I think Monday is when the pads go on, if I'm not mistaken. Full pads, mind you.
Yeah.
And if it's as hot as it's been and they're crunching, you'll have 3 to 5 at least. Yeah. At least.
Well, the guys who wear the extra thing on their helmets too.
that black.
Dude, every time I see it, I was like, man, they've got to be dying in there because
that's ridiculous. Man.
Oh my god! Because I'm sitting out there. I'll be.
If you're a fan or a reporter, you're just sitting out there sweating like crazy. Can you imagine if you're running in any kind of a uniform and a helmet? Good Lord. God.
Yeah, I mean, I sweat when I breathe. So
there you go. There you go.
Skinny, I appreciate it. Hey,
you bet.
I'll be down there tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Plug some stuff before I'll let you go.
Yeah, Yanni Tregellis and I are doing a daily podcast from camp. It's not very long, 7.5 minutes, just kind of recapping the day and any injuries and any updates from that. I got at least a story a day on local12.com as well, and so check that out, local12.com sports. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, appreciate you, Skinny. Take it
easy.
Bet, buddy.
Take it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hope you enjoy that as much as I did. Skinny does a great job. Him and Yanni do an awesome job there at Local 12. Make sure you check those guys out. Check out the Skinny podcast. They'll give you the highlights and lowlights of everything that's going on in practice. So, made it through day 2. No injuries. That's good. Let's keep it that way. I knocked on wood, so you can't get mad at me if it happens. Tomorrow, I will be back down there. Like I said, I had a doctor's appointment today. I had to go check out what's going on with my knee. So that's why I wasn't down there today, but I'll be down there tomorrow. But thanks for watching. I've been live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch. You can follow me on all those, along with Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. I will be pulling a sound off later on tonight, put it on the podcast. It's on BeanPod, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Leave a 5-star review and a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. Shout out to my wonderful sponsors. They are as followed. Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Check out Priority Lawn and Landscaping for all your lawn and landscaping needs. You need grass cut, hedges trimmed, mulch done, flower beds cleaned out. Take Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Actually, don't think it. Call them at 513-430-6114. That's 513-430-6114. Also, shout out to T Properties. Quality housing for quality people. Check out their website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. And, of course, Meyer Windows, Doors, and more. Their website's MeyerCincinnati.com. Get you some windows. I got them in my house. I highly recommend you get them in yours. They're energy efficient, great-looking windows, easy to clean. They keep the cool air in and the hot air out, which is awesome this time of year. And, of course, my favorite brewery, it's Moorline Lager House. Get on down there tonight. They got Rocket on the Roebling. You go down there, and hopefully it's not so hot. It still looks sunny outside. It cooled off a little bit. Go down there, drink you some delicious Moorline beer, have some delicious food, listen to some awesome music. We will be doing the tailgate there, home and road there this year for the Bengals game. So come on down and enjoy the fun. Moorline Lager House. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you. I'll be back on tomorrow, starting at 5 or 5:30, unless I find a really cool guest that was coming earlier. That's why I was saying, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because whenever I go live, you'll be notified. But remember this, Houday for life, and throw it up. That's just sports, baby. See ya! Another great show. You guys still here? The show's over. You can come back tomorrow. I'm out of here. See ya.